about them Cowboys. It's the Cowboys Squad, sponsored by Game Time. Everything Dallas Cowboys every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from America's team the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Cowboys Squad Show, starting now.
All right, here we go. It's great to be back with you. August has arrived, and we have our first game week as we count down to the preseason opener Saturday against the Rams. But right now, the real game continues off the field between Micah Parsons and Jerry Jones. And here we go. Welcome to another edition of the Cowboys Squad Show. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. And we start, as always, with a welcome to the co-host of the daily Locked On Cowboys podcast, Landon McCool, just back from Oxnard, where he spent another day watching the Cowboys practice. They were off yesterday. And former Cowboys coach, Glenn Stretch Smith, the one and only. Hi, Coach. Hi, Landon. Coming up on today's show, we will have the very latest with the Cowboys. We will also be joined by former Cowboy and current NFL analyst, among other things, the great dat dude, Marcellus Wiley. Looking forward to that. But, guys, it is a Micah Monday as the Micah Parsons project really blew up after our show last week. Landon, I know you have been in Oxnard. What is the latest breaking news, the very latest with Micah and the Cowboys?
Not much, you know. Like that's. I mean, I think that's the kind of the news is that there's not much there. There doesn't seem to be much conversation between these two parties. I see them walk past each other on the field a lot without kind of saying anything.
And he was there today. He was kind of hanging out, right?
Yeah, he was there. He's there every day. And you know, and everyone's kind of like, it just feels like every day, like when I look on Twitter or on any social media, everyone's like, you know, did he have his jersey on today, or what's he wearing, or where's he standing? Like, and it's like, I agree with. Can we talk about just football? Because that's kind of where what it feels like when you're on the field. Like they don't, you know, Micah's out there and he's got a jersey on. He's hanging out. There's nothing about anything that's happening on the field in Oxnard that is like seemingly existing in that same reality as what's happening, you know, between these two parties in the media. Like Micah's out there engaged with I saw him sitting there talking to Eberflus for like, you know, 25 minutes today at practice, you know, going through different stuff. He was helping guys go through drills. Like there's nothing about like his body language that implies that he's not playing for the Dallas Cowboys this year, which, you know, I think is obviously the high likelihood of all the outcomes here. So yeah, people have been asking like, well, what's the vibe at camp and how does it feel at camp, or what's the Micah talk? And there just isn't anything. Like the players are going about their day. They're doing their thing. And you know, outside of the times when Jerry steps on the field and talks to the gaggle of reporters, or when Micah is talking to folks, you know, it may be weighing on the players, but it's not really reflected on, at least to me, the way that they're practicing.
I guess my first reaction is, how can this not start to be a distraction with a football team that's going into joint practices tomorrow? Obviously, they're getting ready for a preseason game, and not that he was going to play in that preseason game at all. I'm just saying at some point, this is going to be a distraction. Now, and I don't know whether that's in 5 days, in 9 days, in 10 days. I'm almost waiting for the deadline time here when it feels like the next card that's going to get played is by Micah saying, okay, if I don't have a contract by X, I'm going to go ahead and play this season out, and we're going to move on from what what that is, what those contract talks are. That's just my gut feeling that I'm getting. I don't know. When it's this, when you got a situation that is this, I would say cold. I mean, where it doesn't look like either side is talking. It doesn't look like either side maybe even want to talk right now. Just something tells me there's going to be the next hurdle or the next domino to fall here, and I think it's going to be a play by Micah to say, okay, hey, I'm doing X, and then I've got to get ready to go play a season of football where he's under contract.
Well, it's interesting. It's been we've been saying business as usual for what since we started the show, right? But it seemed like things were starting to kind of go a little bit in a different direction, and I don't know. It's been kind of a head scratcher for me. I get it. I'm on the outside looking in, so I don't know. But in the meantime, the fact that he's there, he is under contract for the season, so it's not like he's being forced to play without a deal or anything like that, and that's part of the game. I did think I wanted to get your thoughts on this. I thought it was interesting. Jerry Jones spoke with the media, right? I think it was the first time today since the trade request officially. I think he might have done a team-friendly interview, but spoke to reporters for the first time today and didn't say a lot. But one thing he kind of, I thought, slipped out a little bit. Tell me if you disagree. He made the comment, well, it's highly sensitive when you're guaranteeing somebody almost $200 million. So that's kind of a different number, right, than we were all kind of thinking about maybe before. Maybe we were all kind of in the 160 range. So as we
I think it depends on the number. I think that's the thing, though, is that, like, to me, again, I don't think it's the money. I think the money numbers have probably been settled on in some way, shape, or form for a while. I think it's the years. And so I think it's like, $45 million 5 times is different than it is 3 times, 4 times, right?
Yeah.
I think if they, offered him a longer term deal, $200 million is not that, surprising. If it was, and I think that from what we've seen, like, that's the Cowboys kind of MO, is they want these longer term deals so that they can have the kind of flexibility to, shape these things a little bit. So the $200 million guarantee number doesn't really, it doesn't really tell us a lot without telling us how long the deal was that was proposed with it, because I think that's more likely the heavier sticking point for this whole situation.
Yeah, I mean, the initial number that was out there was five at 40 per. I mean, that's
okay.
Going to be magna cum laude to figure out it's 200. So okay, that was the first number that I think that probably did wide eye Micah back in March when that was talked about. And so, didn't they get a feel that was the right number at that time? I mean, I don't know. And then, it feels like now the price of poker's changed, but you can tell me, I mean, wasn't Jerry out there Saturday saying, you guys, we're not trading Micah Parsons. You can rest well tonight on that. He made some sort of statement about that. And, I mean, I would doubt that the phone's ringing, that anybody's really calling right now to say, hey, what would be the price to make a deal here? I don't think that's happening. But I mean, I'm just me being a simple math guy. I think it is, like Landon was saying, I think it is about years. I think the Cowboys want 5 years. I think he wants probably 4. He'd like 3 if he could get it. That's not realistic. So, that's just a number in my mind that just kind of makes sense, is 5 at 40 per, and Jerry saying 200.
I think it's, I mean, honestly, I think the number is closer to 45 per. And I think that the 200 million guaranteed is what's being haggled over, right? Like, they've probably $5 million per, and like
you're
I'm
saying
not likely to be.
So you're saying back in March, you think that's the number Jerry threw out there?
No. I don't know if that was the
Right.
number
Right.
then.
But that's what Jerry's saying. We kind of had his understanding is we kind of had a handshake deal here, and so that's back in March. Now I understand you're thinking, okay, well TJ Watt got 3 at 123, and okay, the number and the price of poker's gone up. I understand that. I mean, you're probably right. I mean, now the number may be somewhere north of, right around that 45 number. But I'm from the school that the number that was put out there that Jerry thought he had a baseline deal with is 5 years, 40 per, and that's 200. Now, again, all the way back in March, and I got news for you. If Aiden Hutchinson signs after 3 years, for 43 or whatever that number is, I mean, the price of poker is going to go up again.
Yeah, for sure. And I was thinking, like, if you $200 million, that's why I was saying like $200 million to me, like without knowing the number of years, is like, I imagine that, that Maglada is probably good with $200 million, probably just not good with it over 5 years, right? He wants it over 3 years, right? And that's probably the rub there. So I mean, I 100% agree. Like I think that the likelihood is that Jerry, when they initially had the conversation, negotiation, depends on who you ask, right? It was something in the range of like 40 per year because they were trying to get him on a longer term deal. I think, I think that the media kind of talks about the per year number, the per season year more than the owners and the agents probably do. They probably are more focused on the actual just years and guaranteed money, right? And then they massage it to make it look like a good deal at the end of it. But yeah, I mean, look, I think at the where it is now, to kind of put a bow on it is, somebody's gonna have to make a move here, and traditionally it's Jerry, picking up a phone call late at night and like, but the problem is that usually that's also a case where it's Jerry directly calling the player, right? And kind of breaking the ice that way. But that's also how he got himself into the situation in the first place, which, right or wrong, is clearly become a hang up as part of the kind of disagreement between these two sides. So I'm hoping that plays out like that again. I still think that this gets done. I mean, I haven't changed on my opinion there.
You and Brian Schottenheimer.
What'd you say?
I said you and Brian Schottenheimer. He is going to get.
I mean, Schottenheimer's job's on the line based on it. So,
let me ask you, what isn't the salary cap this year at 265?
Yeah, that's
okay. So,
right.
I mean, help me out here. Again, I've been called a simpleton, a lot worse than that. But if you're paying the quarterback 60, the receiver makes 35, and you're 45 on the defensive end, that's 140 of the 260. So you're eating up over half of the salary cap with 3 players. Fair to say?
Well, I think using your name stretch, I think you can stretch it by using a bonus, right? They have different tricks to there's
roster mechanisms to kind of change the actual per season payment, but generally speaking, you're not wrong. Yes.
Right. So the point I'm making is that's where they're at, because if you're working on a deal to pay the guard Smith, and he basically wants tackle money, and Bland is not going to be that expensive, but you're going to have to pay Duran. Now, I mean, I'm just saying, at the end of the day,
stacked up.
I believe that people want to say it is number of years, and I think it is, so that they can play with that number.
Yes, exactly.
But where I'm going with this, and that's the place I always go, which is there is one guy that is grossly overpaid in this situation. And it's never going to go away with me.
Well, I think the thing here too is that doesn't get talked about enough is that Jerry Jones is also the guy who knows how much the cap is going to go up each year. Like that's the other thing. And when you look at what's going on with the ESPN and the NFL deals, like I just feel like every single time we turn around and look at the NFL, there's dollar signs. And so I think for them, they think if they can just find a way to get those a little bit deals out a little bit further, the salary cap is just going to continue to explode, and they'll just continue to shuffle the money around through, accounting techniques they'll never have to eventually pay the piper. But, I am not the cap boy, so I can't, guarantee that.
All right. When we come back, I just want to ask you one final question, then we'll let it go until Marcellus comes on at the top of the hour. And I wanted to run something by both of you really quickly that we didn't get to address last week, and that involves Cowboys rookie running back Jaden Blue. We'll do that when we come back. Great to be with you, though. Again, Marcellus Wiley coming up at the top of the hour. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. All right. Well, the time to fuel up and turn it up is with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Now, let's be honest. Some days on the course or off it, you just need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized. Well, golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors, of course. So the grape ginger lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without chasing down the bev cart. So if you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that's the number 5hourenergy.com. You can use my promo code LOCKEDONGolf to receive 20% off your order. The offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Now, whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion flavored 5-Hour Energy shots today. All right, welcome back to the Cowboy Squad Show. Landon, McCool, the coach, Glenn Stretch Smith. Okay, one final question, because this helps me kind of process it a little bit more. When you read Micah's social media post, right, in his description of what's gone down over the offseason, you get the impression that really since he and Jerry met, right, that really nothing's happened. The phone hasn't rung. Nobody's talked, right? Do you guys believe that nothing has been said between the two sides? I just feel like we're missing. I mean, it feels to me that they're not on the same page. That there's been a number out there, and there's a disagreement now over that number that happened. That nobody's talking about it, but that it happened whenever, and here we are. Like I feel like it's not just Micah hasn't talked to Jerry since that handshake, and his agent hasn't talked to the Cowboys. Somebody's talked, we just don't know about it.
Yeah, I don't know what the I can't remember what his name is, but there's and maybe you do, coach. There's a guy who works for the Joneses named Adam, plus the P, his last name, I think, who's basically who's their cap guy, basically. I wouldn't at all be shocked if, like, there are back channel conversations between Adam and David's office, at least just checking in, maybe. But I mean, I think outside of that, no, I don't imagine that there have been a lot of conversations. I mean, this is the nature of this kind of negotiation, I would think.
Well, I'm just Coach, I'll let you answer. I'm just thinking, I mean, if you're Micah, you meet with Jerry, you shake hands, you feel like you got a good deal. Hey, I'll have my agent. And then you're just kind of waiting. It just seemed I would be kind of like in a good mood. And the I don't know, the tone of his post just seemed like he was upset. And I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe he's just upset.
I have a hard time believing that Micah Parsons wrote that post. You know, like, I mean, I think that was written by someone from David or David's office. I don't think that that's unusual. I don't think that that's breaking news or anything like that.
You don't think that's an AI post?
Certainly could be a chat GPT prompt. Who knows?
Nice.
But I don't, I don't think that Micah wrote that, not because Micah could write something like that, but because it's an important message that he's spinning out. And that's why you have agents, honestly, to do stuff like this.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he approved everything that was said on there. But my point is that I don't think Micah wrote this. I think it was written in order for a player and an agent to get the most leverage over an owner that has him under contract for one more year and the opportunity to use the franchise tag for the next 2 years. And they're doing whatever they can to try to gain any leverage that they can in this situation, because they don't have the same leverage in this situation that Dak did when he did his deal, that really even CD did. So I think, they're going to get a ton of money. Absolutely. And they're trying to optimize that as much as they can. And this is just part of that negotiation plan that happens, honestly, across the league.
I mean, at the end of the day, he wants to be labeled as the highest paid defensive player in the league. That's the crown that he wants. And there's nothing wrong with that, because guess what? If you look at, I don't care whatever rankings you want to look at, I mean, he's valued as the number one defensive player in the NFL. I mean, that's just where it is. And he wants that fair, what he thinks is a fair market value. And he may not be wrong, but again, there's only so many ways you can cut this piece of this pie up. There's only so many ways you can do it. And I'm telling you, Jerry is a shrewd negotiator, and he knew when he threw that number out there in March, he's very, very, very well schooled in what guys are making. I mean, I can tell you a bunch of things that I do know, and I'm telling you, I know for a fact Jerry Jones is as shrewd a business guy. I didn't say cheap. I didn't say that he's any of those things. I said he is a businessman, and it is about a business to him, and that's how he handles this. And if you want to play hardball, I mean, I'm not real sure he's the right guy. And everybody says, well, he's, he always backs down, or at some point he's always going to pay. And you know what? He's loyal in that way, but he's a business guy, and he gets it, and he is fully aware of how many ways that you can cut this piece of pie.
All right. Well, we'll leave it at that for now. We'll see what Marcellus has to say about everything coming up here in just a few minutes. But as I said, head coach Brian Schottenheimer asked about it again today, was pretty optimistic, upbeat, and basically kind of like, yeah, he's going to be here. I expect him to be here. So anyway, that's what's going on there. After our show on Thursday, really quick, speaking of Schottenheimer, or Shotty as they call him, he made this comment about rookie running back Jaden Blue. And he said, quote, I think he's realizing, okay, I'm really talented, I'm really good, but I'm in the NFL now, and most of these guys are really, really good. So I have to do things off the field, preparing mentally in the classroom, studying a little bit extra for the installs the next day, taking care of my body. It's been fun to see, Schottenheimer said. But I really quick, we don't have to spend a lot of time. And Coach, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but this is exactly what the coach said about Jaden Blue a few weeks ago. And we had all these trolls going crazy, but exactly what the coach said, the Cowboys head coach said the exact same thing, that he's he learned some things, and he's kind of growing up here since he's been in training camp. And so that's all. I just wanted to, we can criticize and criticize, but I think we need to, come correct when we need to come correct. And I think there were a lot of people that were taking shots at the coach that were not right. He didn't say anything maliciously. He wasn't trying to bury the kid. He was just speaking the truth.
I'm all for the kid. I hope he has a big year, and I'm all for this young man. I want him to go have a heck of a year, because that makes it a lot easier to come on here and talk about. So, you know what? I'm not going to get involved in all that banter and all that. It's just not my thing.
All right. I'll just step in here real quick and say something too, because I think that what seemed really unfair to me about the way that was all handled towards Coach specifically is that everything that Coach was reporting that he's hearing was the same thing that Dane Brugler also reported in his pre-draft, the beast. So I don't know. Like, I think there clearly was something there. You go back and look at the history he had in high school. And again, he's not the first, and he won't be the last talented football player who, had kind of gotten by on talent, through several early layers of football, and then got to the NFL and realized, oh my, it's quite a different thing up here. And kudos to him for recognizing that and taking the next step to kind of go, do what he needed to. But obviously that wasn't always the case necessarily. So yeah, let's move on to him being a good Cowboy. I think that will be the case. But let's also, be honest with ourselves about the fact that Coach didn't say anything that hadn't already been said, and kind of, got some guff for it when he didn't deserve it, in my opinion.
All right. Guys, I'm going to take our number 2 timeout here really quick, and then I want to be ready to go and just put Marcellus right on when he jumps in, okay? So we'll do that when we come back. Great to be with you on this Monday. Marcellus Wiley will be joining us here in just a minute. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. Really is. All right. Well, that time of the year, right? And if you've ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family, maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. Well, that is exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last minute tickets without the stress. With the money that you save on your tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Game Time makes that possible. Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually go down the closer you get to first pitch, and they have incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worrying out of buying. Now, Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, making it easy to browse the app for exciting upcoming MLB games. You got the Yankees in town taking on the Rangers tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday afternoon. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Okay, we are back. The Cowboys Squad Show. Landon McCool, the coach, Glenn Stretch Smith, Marcellus Wiley set to join us coming up here in just a minute. Marcellus is he's a Columbia guy, so he'll be right on schedule. He's sharp when it comes to time. Really quickly before he comes on, Landon, we got hit with that Tyler Guyton injury news last week, a week ago. What happened today with Mozzie Smith? Did you hear anything?
I haven't seen anything yet, other than him just kind of walking off the field. I haven't heard anything. I will say this: I did see him earlier in practice when he was with the defensive lineman. That there was some trainer that was like rubbing his legs like almost like he had a cramp or something, like or maybe a muscle or something. But it was his right like thigh and calf. So I'm not sure if that was related to that. But yeah, and I haven't seen anything reported since practice. I've been trying to check and see. But all I did see is that he did kind of walk off on his own power, but he did seem kind of ginger a little bit, like it was maybe his foot or his legs or something.
All right.
Did they where did they put Lyle Collins? Have they got him just already in with the twos?
I need to go back and watch my the 11s that I recorded, because I didn't. I think he may have just been on the other side, which means he was playing right side. I got to tell you, Coach, he's in maybe the best shape I've ever seen him.
I'm going to tell you that coming out of LSU, he had great feet. Now, where his mental mindset is, I don't know. But when you looked at him in college, he's got as good a feet for a big man as you'll see. So if his Shiva getter is going, this is a good sign for the Cowboys.
Yeah, and it's crazy, right? The last time he was here, he looked about as bad as he had ever looked. He looked, it's just bad body, just sloppy bodied, and that had been his issue at times. Once he had kind of had some success in the league, it felt like he kind of went easy on some of his off-season routine stuff. He had an injury that he didn't kind of, rehab quite the way that he probably should have, and really struggled to kind of come back from. And then he goes off to, I think it was Cincinnati for a couple of years, and then comes back. And when he came back, he just wasn't the same kind of player. The guy I saw out there today, he looked like he more svelte than Terrence Steele. He's probably only like 300 pounds. I think he said he was like 300 pounds today in practice. So I'm interested because, you get a guy who's got all that experience, like you said, really great feet for a guy that size, and he's got some pop to him. I'm not penciling him as a starter or anything, but he could be at least a extremely useful backup if he can kind of put it all together.
Yeah, and you can't when you got those guys that can play both tackle spots. There's a lot to be said for that.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, speaking of a lot to be said, I think he is just about ready. Marcellus, I see you, buddy. I'm going to try to bring you up here. You ready? You good? All right. Let's do this. Outstanding. All right. Joining us now, there he is. Former All-Pro and Ivy League Hall of Famer, Marcellus "Dat Dude" Wiley. Marcellus, great to see you, buddy. The recent Wiley World photo that you posted was awesome. Blessings to you and your family. And hey, thanks for coming on today.
It's been forever, Big Z. Great seeing you, man, and continued success to you, man. How's it going, guys?
Good.
All right.
Good to have you.
Yeah, that's Landon McCool. He's the co-host of the Daily Cowboys podcast, and that's former Cowboys coach Glenn Stretch Smith.
How you doing?
Oh, yeah. I was listening to the jewels he was dropping, talking about those quick feet from Lyle Collins. Yeah, you guys got some studs out there up front. It's going to be fun to see.
We'll find out.
Yeah, so I'm curious, buddy. You did your own show, a solo Micah Parsons project show on the hydration situation. So, what do you think? Keeping it real, is this just business as usual? Do you think for Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, or maybe this time is a little different?
Yeah, I guess I have a different take of it. Obviously, I signed my own deal with the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones before, back in 2004. And just from that experience and all my NFL contract experiences, I think there were a lot of missteps made, more so from Micah Parsons' side than even Jerry Jones. I don't think people really want to give management, ownership any benefit of the doubt because they have all that money and resources. So it seems like everything's stacked in their favor. But at the same time, fair is fair. So if I'm Micah Parsons, I'm never walking into a meeting with Jerry Jones that's about leadership and letting it pivot to any other place but leadership. And so Micah Parsons has signed a deal before, his rookie deal. He's not a rookie to this experience. And I don't think that Jerry Jones was trying to manipulate him. Everyone wants to make him seem like he's like this old savvy guy who just sitting there, twirling his thumbs and his brow is raised and just trying to manipulate the moment. They may just be having a casual conversation and it twisted into something that it shouldn't. And that's when you call your agent, or that's when you abruptly say, okay, I got to go work out, etc. That said, Jerry Jones does have a track record of stretching these things out. I think from his mindset, he's like, look, these guys are on cheaper deals than the one they're going to sign. So every day I keep them on this old deal, rookie deal, whatever it may be, I'm saving money. People don't understand that. They're like, oh, no one wants to write a $200 million check, but some people earn it. They force you to write it because of their value. But doesn't mean you want to write it early. Doesn't mean you want to write it faster than you have to. So I may sound pro-management, but I just know if you're a baller like Micah Parsons is, you're going to get paid eventually, somehow, some way. Keep balling. The money's only going to be greater later, and then you're going to be even happier.
Well said. I like that.
Absolutely true. And I also think that, as much as they are trying to, kind of squeeze water from a stone leverage wise here with some of the stuff, right? I mean, because of all the things we talked about, we still got the 5th year of his deal. He still has 2 more franchise tags that they can place on him if they really feel like they have to. I guess one of my questions I have, Marcellus, is how I think part of the issue is that Jerry tries to have a relationship with these kind of players all across the board, right? He tries to have a personal relationship with these folks. And so there are times when, whether he's being savvy and trying to manipulate the guy, or it's just 2 guys who are talking that obviously have a contract conversation to have at some point, falling into that conversation. I just wonder if it isn't a situation where, because Jerry's around these players maybe more than an average owner, and because he is talking to these guys more than an average owner, I wonder if these kind of conversations don't just naturally happen, whether they should or shouldn't be, more often than with the Cowboys than they do with other teams.
Yeah, I can see the lines certainly getting blurred, and that's good and bad. There are pros and cons to that. Like, think about it. If the guy who's going to pay you money, all of a sudden you guys chum up to the point where you guys are having casual conversations about hundreds of millions of dollars, that should work in your favor. But what doesn't work in your favor is the fact that you have been on record saying you would take less. You've been also the same guy who's had these conversations without your representation being involved every step of the way. You're also the same guy who's told them you don't really want to be anywhere else. So you've kind of given away your own leverage even before you walk into that meeting. So your agent has a lot to kind of work against because you've been on record kind of working against yourself. These are those situations where if you're Micah Parsons, you got to also have a business acumen or mature in that respect and allow your agent to do his job. If you want to talk to Jerry Jones going to talk back. Jerry Jones knows he has at least 3 more years of your services. So therefore, he doesn't have to rush to do anything, but you're in a rush to get paid to the point where you want to get paid even less to stay a Cowboy. How do you think that's going to work out with anybody, any owner? But since it's Jerry Jones, we kind of demonize it more than any other owner who will be in that same predicament, same situation.
Well, I know you realize this. Having played for so long, and I was in the building 9 years before you got there, and I'm fully aware of how you deal with Jerry. Might be a little different with how you deal with Steven. They're on the same page, but they're different personalities. And then, here's the other thing. Not ever can I ever remember a player saying, well, you know what? I'm going to go in here and negotiate with Jerry, and I'm going to give him a hometown discount because this is where I want to live, or this is where I want to be. At the end of the day, that has never worked out. There's never such thing as a hometown discount. Like I can't even think about that when they were talking about, well, Jalen Ramsey bought a home in Fort Worth. Maybe he's going to sign with the Cowboys for $10 million less. It doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't. It never did and never will. Look, there's so many misnomers out there. When it's time for you to hit free agency or you have leverage to get an extension, fans don't want to hear it, but the money talks and it talks loud. Like you just got to see what's the best business package for you. Then you start to get into some other devilish details and you want to get into some of the more fine print things because there's some teams where you're like, man, they don't have a chance to really get over the hump. And there's some teams that are so close or over that hump that may have an advantage. But largely it's a financial package, whether that's what state in terms of income tax, et cetera. It's also what team in terms of what can they give you in resources. I'll be real. I left Buffalo on a free agency deal to go to San Diego, which at the time was like the worst team in the league, to the point where we had the number one pick. And then that was traded away with Michael Vick. And then that turns into LT and Drew Brees. So, like, I wanted to go there because they had great defenders, Junior Seau, Rodney Harrison, Ray Lee Johnson, et cetera. But they also offered the most money. And was that a coincidence? I don't think so. I think I looked at the most money, said I'd rather go somewhere with the most financial package, the best package, and the worst record versus the best record and the worst financial package. So people got to be real.
That's awesome. So go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to take like just a quick different angle on this a little bit and talk about like Cowboys fandom and like the actual media reaction, because that to me is the only area where this feels actually different than a lot of other negotiations, is that it does feel like more so than previous seasons, Cowboys fandom have really started to turn on the Joneses about the way that they're, and listen, I agree with your analysis of the situation and how they've handled it, and that it's at the very least 50-50, if not, Micah having misplayed some of this situation more than anything. But it does feel like the backlash is going back against the Joneses. And I know that they've had like this in the universal truth of all press is good press situation. But do you feel like the angles have changed on that in the last few years with the way that Micah and the Mugalatas of the world have kind of played social media and the way they've handled this? Do you think that that's like freezing that whole idea a little bit more as this goes on?
Well, I think every year you distance yourself from the Cowboys' excellence of the 90s. You just have growing and greater resentment to any direction that they take until they can actually hit the equal sign and show everyone a deep playoff run, NFC championship game, or a Super Bowl opportunity. So people are just thinking that they're rudderless no matter which direction they're going in because of the results.
Yeah.
We lost you. Your mic went off, Marcellus. Hey, Marcellus, your mic went off.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
There we go.
Too. Sorry. Okay, so no, but I think that people just look at the Cowboys like they're rudderless because of outcome. Even when the Cowboys make the right decisions, people look at them the wrong way. Like they draft well, they have great personnel. They're always more talented team than not. And people see the outcome, a wild card loss or no playoff run, and then they say, see, this is what's wrong with us. And it's like those things are separate in terms of decision and in terms of result. So the Cowboys, until they get back to that excellence, every year distant from the 90s Super Bowl run, makes everyone question every single thing about this organization. So there's growing resentment that continues to be greater because people look at it like, where are we going? Because we don't like where we are. But I like a lot of the moves the Cowboys make. I like a lot of decisions the Cowboys make. It's just, you got to remember, there are 32 teams. One smiles, the rest frown and try to reset and do it again. And it's not like Jerry Jones hasn't done it before. It's not like Jerry Jones not only hasn't done it before with Jimmy Johnson, but did it with another coach. So where I'm from, people will say, well, Jerry Jones could win with multiple coaches. Who's to say that stopped in the 90s? Maybe it had to go through a little break, a little gap, and then they can reset and get back there. We'll see, because if they don't do that, everything will be questioned because of that resentment that they have for this team.
100%.
All right. So, Marcellus, with that said, what do you think about this year's squad coming in? Dak is back. They got George Pickens. Yes, they were 7-10 last season, but they were 12-5 the year before.
Exactly. I mean, look, the talent's always going to be enough. If you look at it in terms of Super Bowl opportunities, Super Bowl champions, you got to qualify. And they're one of the franchises that qualifies. Like, no one would lose their mind if the Cowboys were to actually have a deep run and contend this year. People would say, I didn't think it would ever happen. But then you would sit back and say, yeah, I can see why it happened,
Absolutely.
right? It's not something that you can't imagine. But what has to happen is so many things that we can't talk about right now. You got to stay healthy. Guys got to come together. You got to be peaking at the right time. I mean, now the Super Bowl is turned into just get into the playoffs and go on a 3 or 4 game win streak and smile about it. Like, as great as the Philadelphia Eagles looked in that Super Bowl, there were times where you were looking at the Eagles and you were sitting there saying, all right, they're good, but are they good enough? So every team gets questioned in that quest. So the Cowboys' questions can be answered by them staying healthy and coming together at the right time. I'm rooting for it just because I am fond of not only the Cowboys, my daddy's from Tyler, Texas. I played for him, but more importantly, I just want Jerry Jones in present day era to get his due. There are kids walking around here. My daughter, who was born in 1999, has never seen the Dallas Cowboys win a championship. And I'm like, that's silly. Like, she's 26 years old. I'm like, and she thinks they're sorry because they never won. I'm like, no, there are actually sorry franchises that have never won. But the Cowboys have, and they used to be the most dominant. So it'd be nice to see them put that cherry back on top.
I think the thing that's interesting listening to you is I know you realize that the margin for winning and losing in the National Football League is razor thin. It is razor thin that you can win 7 in a year. It's razor thin that you can win 11. And I think, obviously, you said staying healthy is one thing. A first-year head coach, that's the thing that I think a lot of Cowboy fans are a little hesitant to say, hey, we don't really know what we have in the offensive coordinator, first-year head coach, and can he, knowing them, it's a razor-thin margin, can he get them to, into the tournament?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's been coaches of late, even Nick Sirianni talking about the Eagles that had tremendous success early. So it can happen once again. Talking about that road and how razor thin it is between success and failure. It's like that in the NFL. It's like that in all sports. It's like that in life. I remember hearing the adage that the road to success and failure look eerily the same. And you learn that when you're growing up playing ball and you and your friend, your best friend, you work out together all the time. You guys can even choose the same school. You guys all do all the same workouts and extra credit. And then one of you makes it and one of you don't. And it's like we did the same things in general, but it doesn't always work out the same no matter what you put into it. So there have been games where I'm not gonna lie to you, I wasn't playing my best. It's whatever, out of rhythm, this guy got my number, whatever it may be. And I had some good stats. The quarterback fall down by me, I touch him, that's a sack. They run right to me, I just grab them, that's a tackle for loss. And then there are games out there, I am killing it. I am turning that corner quicker than he could snap that ball. And he just, Peyton Manning just throwing the ball away. Peyton Manning not taking a sack. You get nothing to show for it. Sometimes it's like that in sports. And I think the fans need to understand that and kind of ease back off the Cowboys.
All right, Marcellus, one more before I let you go. I haven't talked to you in a while. What's your love like now for the NFL? The state of the league, good? You happy with it? Is it going in the right way, right direction?
I mean, so many things are pointing up and continue to point up for this league. One, in terms of its brand, bigger than ever. In terms of its resources, and look at these financial packages we're talking about. A defensive end is getting $200 million potentially. Like, this is insane what we're talking about. So yes, I think it's a very healthy, vibrant league. It's safer than ever. All the guys I talk to say it's easier to play longer because of all of the things that they're doing in terms of precautions and taking care of the players. Look, the best thing that you could ever ask for is happening, which is these players today don't have to walk in our shoes. They could stand on our shoulders. The same thing that I was able to do when I got into the league and Bruce Smith and Junior Seau, I was able to stand on their shoulders and to benefit even more than they did. Get contracts that were bigger than theirs, get opportunities that was as great as theirs, and they were greater players than I was. And that's all you hope for, that this thing continues to go up, even if it hits a lull here or there. It's the stock market. It just continues to rise.
All right. And before we let you leave, can you tell us about Project Transition and what you're doing and all the cool things? It's really cool. I wish more people heard about it and knew what you were doing.
Oh, I appreciate it, Big Z. Yeah, this is my heart. I'm one of those fork in the road kids that just wanted to go right. And because of that experience, I always want to give back to the community, find those kids at those forks in the road, and just give them those healthy reminders and support and resources. So at Project Transition, we give them experiences and exposures through our mentorship program, through our skills camps, and whether it's a sports related skills camp or leadership life skills camp, we just take these kids out of their comfort zone, get them into a new experience so they can imagine a bigger and greater reality. So we tell all the kids, be greater than your greatest excuse, and go out there and make your life a dream that all of a sudden becomes reality.
Amen. Well said.
Cool.
Well, you are living the dream and an example of it too, my friend. It's great to see you, and you are a light. And thank you. Thanks for coming on tonight. I know you got a ton going on, and we appreciate it.
Oh yeah, I'm off to piano lessons for the kids. So
nice.
Coach and
Enjoy
show, baby. All right, guys. Take
Great to
care,
see you,
fellas.
buddy.
All right, bye-bye,
Thanks,
Biggie.
Marcellus.
Yes.
That was great.
Outstanding. All right, we'll take our final timeout here, and when we come back, final segment and final thoughts. This will be really quick, I promise. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. All right, see, there we go. Welcome back. The Cowboys Squad Show. Landon, McCool, the coach, Glenn, Stretch Smith, and again, our thanks to Marcellus Wiley. It's great. Had a chance to work with him back in the day, and I was he's a real deal. I mean, he's like that, and it's great to get his insight. And so we'll see. You know, I think the fact that, like you said earlier, back to Micah, I think the fact that he's there and he's involved, they'll get it done. I would think. Just not on our schedule.
Outside of that, like that note, like every conversation you hear Micah and Jerry talk about each other, they talk about how much they love each other, how much they like spending time around each other. So I this is all part of negotiation time. It's hard to take any of this stuff too seriously.
Yeah. Coach, you're laughing at something.
Oh, again, you know, when you're dealing with you know, what I think is a master sales guy and a master at really what he does, you know, it's just like I get a kick out of everybody hanging on every word that Jerry says, knowing that he understands the Zig Ziglar mentality. I mean, he gets that. So, you know, it's to me, this is just part of it. And I think I really do believe that the Cowboys get past this scenario. You know, we can get on to figuring out if they can win enough games to get in the playoffs.
All right. Well, according to reports, I don't know if you caught this. I saw this online, including Todd Archer at practice today. There was another scuffle between Sam Williams and Brock Hoffman.
Yeah, shocker between those two. I mean, you know, if you're taking bets on who's going to start the fight, those are your 1 and 2, you know, front runners. So the fact that they fought each other was pretty much inevitable. It feels like.
Yeah. So, well, as you alluded to earlier, tomorrow, the big day, the Cowboys will be in full pads against the Rams. And to your point, we touched on this. And Landon, I think you were spot on saying that this could really be like the day for evaluation of training camp. And so I think a lot of eyes will be on everybody, but I think it's fair to say it's a big day tomorrow for Dak, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Dak specifically, right? Because
Yeah.
he's definitely not going to play much more than he is in this practice situation in any of these preseason games, if he plays at all, which I doubt that he will. So I think it's going to be a real great chance to kind of get an evaluation of specifically the offense, Dak. The passing attack with these new, kind of the new pairing with Pickens added in there. Even in practice, like they're not like doing a bunch of reps. Like, you'll see a big deep bomb to Pickens. You'll see 88 weave his way through traffic and score a long touchdown, and then they kind of pull those guys out and let all the other wide receivers kind of run these routes. So I think we're going to see a real opportunity to see those guys out there kind of tear it up and see what the Rams DBs can do.
Yeah, I hate that Stafford doesn't look like Stafford's going to go tomorrow. So it kind of bothers me a little bit, because you'd like to see him make some really tight window throws, and you'd like to get that on film from a defensive standpoint, but you can't control everything. So it'll be a very controlled situation. You hope you don't see I hope it's not a bunch of fights and all that. It's good to see. It's good to see somebody else working against somebody else. And, hopefully I'm sure the energy level will be jacked up, and, but hopefully they're smart about it. And, you don't get into a situation where you see a bunch of that extracurricular.
Yeah, it's real hit or miss, right? Like, it feels like some years that they're really kind of disciplined and they do a good job. There's going to be scuffles. They're gonna get mixed up. There's going to be guys getting pulled apart. That's just going to happen. But you just don't want to, let's say, a tryout player punching a Rams assistant like there was one year, or I mean, I almost lost an arm during that one really bad brawl with the. Was it the Raiders or the Rams? I can't even remember, like 6 or 7 years ago. But yeah, I mean, sometimes it can get really bad. And the hope is that because this is such an opportunity for these guys to get really good evaluation, really good work done, you hope that they're able to kind of maintain focus, because both sides really need this. And it's a really great opportunity to get clean, safe reps against another team without, having to risk them in a preseason football game.
No question. You want to see it clean. That's what you want to do. I mean, they're gonna be some skirmishes. You hope they again doesn't break into a bigger deal than that. But when you get guys yapping and talking crap, I mean, that just it can get escalated in a hurry. But you don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see any of that crap tomorrow.
Yeah. So Brock Hoffman, Sam Williams, if you guys are watching this, keep it down, guys. Just keep
That's
it
right.
Come on.
That's right.
Walk that line.
I'm curious, Coach, from a coaching standpoint, what are your expectations for a day like tomorrow? Like, what are you doing as the coach? What are you guys doing as a staff? How much can you push? How much can you get accomplished? What do you hope to get accomplished? What do you want to see?
I mean, I always liked, I always like the one-on-ones. I mean, I like seeing one-on-one work. I like seeing red zone work. I don't know how much actual team stuff you'll get in a controlled scenario, but I do think it's good for the younger players to give them that opportunity to get out there. Now, we know that, CD and Pickens are going to want to run routes, but I want to see more from these younger guys. I want to see more from these down the line guys. I know what they can do already. I've already seen them release all of camp. I want to see other guys work on their release. I want to see the younger corners get out there and work their hands and work their feet. I want to see Lyle Collins. What kind of shape's he in to go one-on-one? And I want to see, some of the defensive linemen and some of those guys in one-on-one settings. I just think that, to me, it's working against somebody different, and it's a different color helmet, and take advantage of every one of those times, because you're not going to get very many of these turns.
Yeah, it's the Nate Thomases, it's the Elams, right? It's the guys that we've seen do some good stuff versus our guys, but how much of that is because they're seeing our guys over and over again, right? Let's see them against some new body types, some new people that they don't know as well. Let's see if they have that same kind of success. And if they do, then that's another level that they've taken it. That's another level of trust you can put into some of these, like Coach is calling them, middle roster, down roster folks that you've got plans for, but you need to see exactly where they are and gauge where they are in the pantheon.
And it's great, it's great to have that on film because that helps their confidence. That helps everything, that you're teaching in the individual time and that you've been teaching. They go out there and have success in the things that you're teaching them to do. Those are all things that you want to build on.
100%.
All right. Well, on that note, let's enjoy tomorrow, right? Can't wait for tomorrow. And Landon, I know you'll be all over it. And you and Marcus will have the full recap and everything else going on the next couple of days.
I'm going to do, we made it to 1,000 followers on TikTok. So thanks to everyone who did it. So I am going to do a TikTok live after practice. So if you guys want to pop on to the TikTok account, I'll be taking questions. So please, follow along. We'll have some fun. Yeah.
Outstanding. Congratulations to both of you guys. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Enjoy that tomorrow, Coach. We'll do it again on Thursday with Marcus. And then before you know it, Saturday we'll be here and we'll get ready for Rams Cowboys preseason. First one. Man, can't wait. All right. Hey, thanks for everybody that tuned in. Thanks again to Marcellus Wiley. Thanks to Stephen White and Marvel Jesus. And who else got in? Everybody jumping in today. McDane, Clay, and Chris. Thank you guys for your comments. Appreciate it. We'll do it again on Thursday morning. For Landon McCool and the coach, Glenn Stretch Smith, this has been the Cowboys Squad Show.